the only way that we were going to be able to successfully build a brand and get pull through online and in stores is if we built it through the community. So I went out to my followers and asked them their opinions on logos, flavors, can designs, alcohol percentage, alcohol base. DM'd that to thousands of my followers by hand. If somebody can make a fucking bot so that I don't have to do that with my thumb. I DM'd it to like literally thousands of people, and we called that R&D group the Spritz Society.
I'm Tom Ward, and over the last couple years, I've had the chance to sit down with some of the biggest celebrities and influencers in the world. What I've always found most fascinating is the stories of the businesses that they've built behind the scenes. On this show, you'll get an inside look of what it takes to build a successful business from some of the biggest celebrities, business people, and up-and-coming entrepreneurs in the world. This is The Tom Ward Show. Hey guys, welcome to the Tom Ward Show, where we talk to the biggest entrepreneurs in the world. And today I've got Ben Soffer. He is the founder and creator of the Boy With No Job Instagram page, which has over 1 million followers, and also the founder of Spritz Society, which is a premium cocktail beverage. So we have something in common, kind of the influencer world, being in early, you know?
Yep.
And I thought it was interesting. I read that you said you started the page and went into this without the goal of creating a brand.
Yep.
And I've interviewed over 100 influencers, and most of them, it's, hey, if I hit 1 million followers, I can get the merch on FanJoy and I can sell a load of hoodies and make a bunch of money. And that's always kind of in the back of their mind, where you took a different approach. So what was your goal in the beginning?
Yeah, so first, thank you for having me. Very excited.
Of course.
I'm going to clear my throat a couple of times during this. It's just the allergies. So when I
Go ahead.
I don't know if we want to keep it in or if we want to get it out.
Maybe we'll keep it in.
But we started this, originally my wife started her Instagram account to drive followers to her blog. She had a small blog. She was on her phone all the time. We were dating for 3-4 months. I was like, we have to hang out. Like, we're sitting in bed, you're just on your phone, right? And she's like, you could get on your phone too. That way, like, we're both just antisocial, sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
And they both popped off. And it really, I swear to God, there was zero intention of ever launching a business, ever making $1. The first time that we got a brand campaign, it was like, we can make money from this. And when I started it, I was in college and I was deciding I wanted to be a dentist my whole life. Just like classic Jewish New York.
Yes, of course.
Be a dentist,
Yep.
Ben. You're gonna crush it.
Yes.
Be a dentist,
Yes.
right?
Of course.
And I realized that I didn't want to be a dentist.
This is way more fun.
Yeah, I built Boy With No Job. We were up to like a couple 100,000 followers, and I had a creative advertising teacher that was like, this is pretty cool. Like, you have reach, like these advertising companies have reach. You should really think more about this.
What year are we talking?
We're talking, I always get my years wrong.
Ballpark.
This is 11 years ago, 12.
Oh, so
11,
this is before
10 years ago?
This is before influencer marketing is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And before a career.
Yeah, we were super, super, super early.
Yeah.
Super early. But yeah, pre-career. And I framed my career around social influencer advertising marketing.
Smart.
Because I saw what this was and what this could be. And I always wanted to be this two-pronged business influencer, be able to share experiences with clients that I'm seeing on the influencer side, and then bring back practices to pitch to brands that I'm seeing on the other side. So started just doing both, but obviously abandoned dentistry. And
smart move.
It was a smart move.
Yeah.
And went full force into getting a digital marketing major, whatever that means. And I have a random minor in chemistry because of the dentistry.
Okay.
And went to work at advertising agencies for a decade.
It's funny. First of all, you're early in influencer marketing.
Yeah.
But you're also early in the entrepreneur influencer space where, like, now it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's an Elon Musk of the world. It's kind of the grandfather of this whole thing. It's like, it's not good enough to just be a successful entrepreneur. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Of course I want a bunch of money. That's the first goal.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, give me that. You can have my Instagram.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Give me a bunch of money, but people want that. The people who have that, it's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
I want 1 million followers on Instagram too.
Exactly.
And that can't really be bought, so that's why it's so desirable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I don't know what else you do with a following if it's long term, if it's not launching a business that's authentic to your community. Yep. Because at least for me, I can't make YouTube videos into my 60s. Like, it's just not like a thing that, like, I can't do stunts. I'm not a stunt guy. I'm not a pranking you at your local grocery store. Like, there's just like a period of longevity. I feel like it's like being an actor. Like, if you crush it, you never need to work again and you're fine. Yep. If you don't crush it though, then you're acting into your 60s, you're taking roles that you don't want to take. And so ultimately the path for me was building a business.
You know, it's funny, you know, you kind of saw the influencers grow up, and the smart ones now are doing exactly that.
Yeah.
You look at I interviewed Charlie D'Amelio like a month ago, and you look at somebody like her, and it's like, yeah, originally she was just a, relatable, cute girl dancing, but now she's so much more than that, right? They're all VCs now. They're all starting their own startups, because it was like, it's not just enough to make money for brands and get a check. I'm working for somebody like we talked about before, right? Yeah. There's really no risk that way. Yeah. But you're also not going to get super rich that way either. Yeah. You get really rich by owning something.
You're also going to continue to dilute your following, and your followers are going to end up turning on you if you just do inauthentic brand campaign after inauthentic brand campaign. The D'Amelio side of it is interesting because they can work with any brand they want. So they could seek out, okay, I love wearing X. I want to do a collab with them and have my own line. So from their perspective, it's funny. I don't know. I mean, the VC piece makes sense. If they have access to early deal flow, why not use their money and their level of influence to get better valuations and end up helping the brand? But if I had 200 million followers, I would be approaching brands, telling them what I want to do for them, knowing that I could get $1 million plus for anything I want. It's
what a great position.
It's such a different level of scale. The VC piece makes a lot of sense to me. The owned businesses for them, it's funny. I don't know if it makes sense. I think that they should really just approach the Gap and say, I want to have a line at the Gap. I want X royalties because I'm going to sell this. I'm going to bring in this consumer that you're now missing because the Gap is aged up, right? Like they're in such a position of power amongst that Gen Z millennial that, oh my God, it's a no-brainer.
It's funny, and even like the person watching this who has 10,000 followers on Instagram and they're in Ohio watching this, they've got power too. It's funny because now you see down to the micro influencers, and they've got their whole little universe too, which that can be monetized and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it all the time as it relates to Spritz Society and why you should. It's really in my investor pitch. It's like, there are influencers with 100 million followers that can't sell anything.
100%
There are influencers with 10,000 followers that can build a f***ing business.
Yep.
It's because their audience cares about them. It really just comes back to, have you authentically built your following? Did you? That's why I always say, like, people, I was gonna say 9 times out of 10, 9 billion times out of a billion, that's not good math. If you try to become an influencer, it's not gonna happen because your audience sees straight through you. They're like, why am I following this schmuck when they're just trying to monetize me? I get it. I'm sitting at a 9 to 5. They're trying not to sit at their 9 to 5, and they're trying to make some money on Instagram. The people that go out, have a craft, go deep in it, whether it's music, it's art, it's pranks, it's memes, it's whatever it is, and do it because they love it and get a following, then all of a sudden you can look back like, oh, these people love what I'm doing, they trust me, and more important than anything, they want me to succeed because they like me.
Yep.
Like, I grew up a huge basketball fan.
Oh, me too. I'm a hoops junkie. Season starts Tuesday, I think. Tip off.
Wow.
I just saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
Really snuck
it's October.
up. That's crazy.
Yes.
So diehard Knick fan. I know you're from the East Coast.
Okay, yeah.
Grew up Knick fan my whole life. Amari Stoudemire was.
I'm a Suns guy, actually.
Really?
Well, I lived in Phoenix for 8 years, and I had season tickets during the Nash and Stoudemire years.
Wow.
For 5 years with my best friend.
Oh my God.
So I've seen that team. I saw 100 games of those guys.
That team is amazing with Sean Marion.
I mean, we couldn't win anything.
Yeah, but still so good.
They were so
Knick
fun.
fan, what is winning? We're not trying to win. We're trying to have good years.
Oh, they were so
trying to make the playoffs and just. Yeah. But I bring it up because Amari Stoudemire launched a wine brand called Stoudemire Wines. He hadn't been playing in the league for 10 years. Of course, I bought it in a second.
Yeah.
Because I love him, I want to support him. Yeah, it was good. Really? But even if it was bad, it doesn't matter to me. I bought it because I love him and I support him, right? And that's what this is in this world. If you build an audience authentically, it's like having a million friends that want to support you and see you win. And ultimately, not all products are amazing. Like, we're supporting products all day long that are subpar.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the grocery store and I pick up a Dasani. Dasani tastes fucking disgusting.
Aquafina?
It's disgusting. Aquafina is disgusting, even though the worst, Evian. I know.
I like Evian.
No, you don't. You've been marketed to.
I like the taste of it.
You
It's
don't.
kind of like
You
silky,
don't.
kind of.
You don't.
I don't?
You can't. No. No, I really think they've just done an unbelievable job at product placement and putting it in the right places that people think it tastes good. Poland Spring is the best water on the planet.
Okay. I grew up with Poland Springs.
Poland
Oh, yeah.
Spring is fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe Essentia is pretty good too. We're on a bit of a water tangent. But ultimately, we drink and consume things every day that are
That aren't
subpar.
good.
Why can't you do it while also supporting your friend?
Yep. Talk about, and we'll kind of transition into your brand, but
Yeah.
before we do, how important is community in this whole world? Not only we'll talk about how you use that to launch your brand, right? But first of all, how did you even build a community? Because you had kind of a meme comedy page.
Yeah.
So how do you get out from behind that? Because a lot of people, it's kind of a faceless brand,
Yeah.
right? Because they're not following you personally.
Yep.
They're not following Ben.
Yeah.
They're following the funny tweets I see on my Instagram
Yeah.
page.
Yep.
So how do you build a community?
And believe me, in the beginning, they let me know that they weren't following me for my face. They're like, I don't want to see your fat face. Give me the memes. And it's like, all right, slow down. Just give me a minute. I promise I'm funny, and I'll also add value to your daily life. Instagram stories changed the game. That's what it was. Stories gave me an outlet that wasn't in feed, in your face every day for me to start to show my face without it being something that was so intense and disruptive to the normal flow of Boy with No Job. My wife also has a podcast that's blown up called The Morning Toast, where I'll go on The Morning Toast. People will see my face. Ultimately, obviously the brands are intertwined. And so all of that really led to it being something where I can show my face. So Instagram stories, though, that was an unbelievable update, at least for me, that gave me the opportunity to authentically show my face to my audience.
I didn't know that, but that makes sense because you can't just on your page drop in.
I couldn't then. I couldn't just drop a picture of myself.
Yeah, they'd be like, what is this?
What is this? But now, if I drop a picture of myself, totally fine. I do it sparingly. Like if I have did a nice beach photo shoot where I'm running like Baywatch. It was like half funny, half like, oh wow, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that does really well. So, but
now, before we get into use a community to kind of grow and build a brand, first of all, just because there's a lot of aspiring or young creators watching this too, how do you build a community? I mean, I'm looking to do it. The person watching is looking to do it.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So first and foremost, especially when you launch a business, you have to rebuild a community. I want to talk about that after I talk about building the initial community. But just because you launch a brand doesn't mean that you can lean on the community from Boy with No Job and Girl with No Job and The Morning Toast. You need to build a Spritz Society community that, of course, was created through the initial base and the nucleus is those fans. But ultimately, they need their own community within Spritz Society for it to be something that they really bring into their life and introduce to their friends. The way that you grow a community, I really think, is just owning your craft, being really, really true to that. It's the same way as not trying to be an influencer and becoming an influencer. And people end up respecting you. And then I think it's community engagement. Like I go on stories and do Q&As, or I'll do meet and greets, or we'll do polls. I think it's finding ways to interact with them and not make it such a one-way street, I think is the best way to grow community. So for you, I mean, all the videos that you've done are fantastic. Maybe ask, I don't know if you do this, ask your Instagram audience, who do they want to see? And bring them into the fold, and maybe have one of these be live and invite 16 of your followers and make it seem like there are 6,000 people that are watching you, not just 16.
Of course.
But that like you and your brand and what you're doing is bigger than just this. It's also them, right? So I think that it's all about being empathetic. I hate that word, but because it's been so overused. But being empathetic and understanding that it's a choice for the consumer to follow you. They could follow anybody.
Plenty of people out there to follow.
So we're really lucky to have the followers that we have, each and every one of them. And it's important to make sure that they feel supported, loved, and that you care, that they care about you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now talk about how I read how you kind of used, that, and I like how you said that too, because it's true. You look at the people, the fans of Boy with No Job, right? It's this big pie.
Yep.
Now, not everybody, a small percentage is going to want to be part of the Spritz Society.
Correct.
Right? But I heard you reached out to a bunch of followers, like thousands.
Yes.
As kind of like a research tool almost, which is so smart. Talk about how you used your community.
Yeah, so we knew that if we launched a tequila brand, no one would give a shit, right? Like looked at trends, saw that tequila is where all these celebrities are launching brands. Ultimately, they have their tequilas already. They have, if we wanted to launch a canned alcohol brand, a hard seltzer brand, they have White Claw. All of this exists.
Yep.
The only way that we were going to be able to successfully build a brand and get pull through online and in stores is if we built it through the community. So I went out to my followers and asked them their opinions on logos, flavors, can designs, alcohol percentage, alcohol base. DM'd that to thousands of my followers by hand. If somebody can make a fucking bot so that I don't have to do that with my thumb. I DM'd it to literally thousands of people, and we called that R&D group the Spritz Society. So the name of the brand, Spritz Society, comes from the, I'm going to use this word again, that I hate, empathetically. It's twice now that I've said. It was the empathetic approach to brand building. It was understanding that if I'm asking you to buy something in a crowded market, that I need your help in carving white space. Mm-hmm. There's always something missing. You just have to ask the right person and the right group of people to point you in the direction, because these macro trends that you get from Nielsen or IRI, and you look at all this data, it's so not of the moment. It doesn't show you the big picture at all. And it doesn't show you what consumers really care about. Like, it won't show you, or wouldn't have shown you, that there was a lack of transparency in the hard seltzer space.
What do you mean?
Hard seltzer, consumers thought it was hard. Spirits, tequila, vodka. I don't know if you know this, but it's not. They thought, I'm picking up a hard seltzer.
It's a tequila base.
It's a tequila base or a vodka base or something, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And there's nothing on the back that tells them otherwise. Like, nobody is reading like the difference between X ingredient that they've never heard of, or malt. Like, they don't know what these things are. And so what came out of the R&D process with the community was, first and foremost, give us something with a transparent base. We're wine drinkers, so use wine. Wine-based sparkling cocktails, and make something that tastes good, because all these products don't taste good. So we spent a year in R&D and ultimately made them something that they loved. But it was all about asking them what they were looking for to ensure that it wouldn't just be another thing. It needed to be their thing.
You know, it's so good, and I'll give a shout out to Deepika Muyala. Hopefully I pronounced your name right, but I interviewed her a couple weeks ago, and check out the interview. She founded Live Tinted, and her deal, she's Indian, and she had dark circles under her eyes, and that was something apparently that's common with Indian women. And she made a YouTube video of like her hack. She put red lipstick, who knew, under her eyes, and put some, I don't know, and it fixed it, right? So she kind of built a following based on that. And she did that for a while, and she built a community first. She started a Live Tinted community with no product associated with it. Just to talk about, women of color, what kind of makeup issues they had. And for a year she did that, and guess what? They told her exactly what product they wanted to buy. Guess what? She just made that product. Super successful. So
smart.
It's so smart, but people do it the other way.
It's because
I want the product first, and I'll figure out the community part second.
It's because we're trained, the way that we've been doing this for the last 30 years is celebrities are not business people, right?
No.
They've always been completely separate. If you're an actor, you're also not going to run a business because you're acting. Influencers are the perfect hybrid between the two, where it's not you're going to make a product and you're going to go find a celebrity to attach yourself to. That's the way that these deals typically work, right? It's inauthentic though, 9 times out of 10, because if the celebrity doesn't get behind it, the brand's going to fall to the wayside. Their audience doesn't think that it's theirs. They think that they're just, again, trying to get a check and trying to make some money. So if you can bridge the gap between the two and launch the business and be the face of the business and use your community for the business, I think it's just the new way of launching brands. I think that the new way should be approaching a celebrity and asking them, what do you want to make? What do you love to do? And then the company can go and make it with them. Too often people are being approached, hey, I have a failing vodka company, you want half of it? And then all of a sudden it pops off. Or it dies. And I don't know. I just think that in a world that's craving authenticity, the key is to build through community.
Now, okay, so if you're a creator watching this goes, oh, okay, this all makes sense. This is something I can apply. But how about to the person watching who has, a screwdriver brand or, some consumer brand that's not in the influencer world and they're not going to partner with Jake Paul to build something. How do they build? Like, what are some tips for a normal business to build community?
For the screwdriver brand, you find if you have you need to have a solid brand, right?
Yeah, of course.
If they have a solid brand and are selling screwdrivers, I guarantee that there's somebody with influence using their screwdriver. And that person using their screwdriver already is now their first influencer.
You're right.
Go find that person, search the hashtag of your brand or the tags of your brand. Again, I never know what works anymore these days. Sometimes hashtags work, sometimes hashtags.
I know,
And find who is using your screwdriver and go and approach them. And then find some way with a retailer. Maybe you're in Home Depot and do live demos with that influencer in Home Depot. Like, it's just finding the authentic way to do it.
You're so
right. It's so easy. Or come out of, it's funny. Is Tim Allen controversial? I think he is.
I think he's political.
Okay, whatever.
I remember he was arrested for cocaine.
Yeah, that's not. I didn't know that, but that's not good for Tim Allen.
Yeah, but that was before he got famous. He was a coke dealer.
FYI. He was a
arrested
coke dealer
for distributing cocaine. Yes.
Oh my God. Well, I was thinking about him in Home Improvement.
Of course. I think he got political, but say he didn't get political.
Say he didn't. Say he was an uncontroversial, perfect person that you want to align with. Go to Tim Allen and do a commercial with your drill, because everybody in the demo will remember Home Improvement, and find a way to license the theme song. And there are authentic ways to do it without going and slapping a random celebrity's name on it.
You're so right. And screwdrivers is something that just popped in my head. I don't know why, because I don't know how to fix anything. I never used a screwdriver.
My wife doesn't let me forget it either. You're not handy. All right, I'm sorry.
But you're so right. There is a screwdriver influencer. And, what does it look like? Maybe it's the do-it-yourself fix-it guy who has a channel on YouTube. And guess what? If you put your screwdriver in his hand, a bunch of people are going to see that. And why don't you make a custom, Mark Smith screwdriver?
Absolutely.
With a special color handle or something on it.
Absolutely. Always an authentic way, which is why it's so funny. Like, why are brands so lazy?
That's what I was going to say. So what are they missing?
They have too much money. That's it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. These big brands have too much money.
Okay.
They know, for example, in the alcohol space.
Yes.
The reason why it's hard for big brands to build brands, which is why they buy brands instead of build brands, is they can snap their fingers and get the product in every single liquor store or grocery store in the country. The problem is, if you don't have a community and you don't have a reason to buy it that's different from the reason to buy the other products, it's not going to move off the shelf and it's going to go out of business. So it's too easy. It's too easy for them. They've finished the game already, and now they're trying to figure out how they play it again with a new entrant, and it's impossible. It really is. So I think that ultimately they have too much money, and they just don't use it in the right ways. It's funny, we were talking about this before. Like, we made a product that tastes amazing. Spritz Society tastes amazing. I wouldn't have it any other way, because audiences are also critical. Like, if I made a product that tastes like dog, they're going to tell me. They're going to tell me, like, why are you a snake oil salesman? Why are you selling me a product that doesn't taste good?
And there goes the community.
Exactly. Our product tastes amazing. It was important to us that it did. And so many of these brands don't. It's because they prioritize Maybe it's a tax benefit by using a specific type of alcohol. Maybe it's a tax benefit by being a certain level of carbonation. Maybe it's like these things are very, very realistic. And when you look at the macro scale of these businesses, every penny counts. And the question is, who's winning? Is it R&D or is it the person running the books? And the CFO
usually wins.
100%.
I came from a corporate background.
Because consumers really at scale will end up buying anything. Dasani being that example.
Why? Because it's on the shelf.
Because it's there.
It's there. I need
it's
water.
there. It's there, but it's different when you start to enter niche categories or water is water.
Yeah.
Like people are going to end up buying water. But.
So what the hell do you know about launching a startup?
Nothing.
Yeah, so
I knew nothing.
Yeah, so where does this all, did you learn a lot from Gary, kind of watching him?
Yeah.
Like, where does all this come from?
So I spent my career understanding product market fit, running celebrity and influencer driven marketing companies, working for some of the biggest companies in the world or with some of the biggest companies in the world. And what it came back to is that marketing drives everything. Everything. If you have a bad product, you can still sell it with great marketing. And if you have a great product with great marketing, all of a sudden,
game over.
Game over. So I had that background. I've always been very entrepreneurial. I'm a big ideas guy. I would say I've had 9,000 bad ideas. And I felt that I felt that this was a really, really great idea. And it was the right time in a market that will be $87 billion by 2030, the RTD market.
Wow.
So if we can just capture a sliver, RTD is ready to drink.
Okay.
If we can just capture a sliver of that market, all of a sudden this is a successful business. But ultimately, brought on a great team that's way smarter than me, filled my blind spots.
Now,
the team's now 14, 15 strong.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
I forget the gentleman's name, but you'll tell me, who had a liquor background, because what do you know about how distributors in New York City work versus every state's different with liquor laws and stuff, right? So you don't have that background. Where do you find the person who does?
I knew nothing. First and foremost, I learned an unbelievable amount in the last 2.5 years. Unbelievable amount. But when I first entered, I was unbelievably green. I knew nothing about the wine and spirits industry. We had great advisors. We hired great people, showed them, again, the power of our community is what not only has driven people to buy the product, but it's driven people to want to work for us.
And invest in you too.
And invest, of course.
Yeah.
And they see that and they're like, oh, this is cool. This is special. I no longer want to work for X huge brand where I'm just in my classic 9 to 5. It's the hybrid approach, right? The hybrid is working for a startup. If you're not ready to launch your own business, come work for a startup where you see so much more than just your regular day-to-day job. You have so much more opportunity to push your skill set and learn. And ultimately, you could have a great exit event. Everybody at my company has equity. I wouldn't have it any other way because if I win, I want you to win.
That's great.
Why would I have you work as hard as you possibly can if you're not going to win? So really, it was just surrounding myself with people that are way smarter across sales, marketing, finance, supply chain. We launched this business during COVID. Everybody was like, supply chain is a nightmare, right?
Yeah, in every category.
In every category. So I needed somebody that had 2 decades of supply chain experience in Bev Alc. And I got that person.
Now, where do you find that person?
Sometimes it's recruiters.
Okay.
Recruiters I don't think work.
Okay.
I think they end up giving you employees that want to leave. And ultimately, you don't want the person that wants to leave. You want the person that's really happy, that's crushing it and at the top of their game to want to leave their company and come to you. So really, it's been a lot of LinkedIn. I am messaging people from other companies and poaching. I'm hand poaching. I'm like, I know that you're probably happy here, but if you have 30 minutes to hop on a Zoom, I'd love to tell you my story and see if it's something that is intriguing to you.
Well, just pause on that real quick too, because now that I'm kind of doing more business content, I just followed you on LinkedIn too. Accept my invitation to connect.
I promise.
Don't ghost me. But I'm starting to use it more where I didn't before, and also because I had a 9 to 5, so I had to kind of keep this side of me quiet. I couldn't promote it, but now I can. And it seems like you've done a really good job of using social to network, which I think is really beneficial because most people aren't extroverts and don't feel comfortable at a public event going up to somebody, you know, who's more successful than them and introducing themselves, or, you know, people have trouble with that. A lot of people do. But doing it online, it's more comfortable. There's kind of less risk associated with it. From you sending those DMs, those 3,000 DMs to your followers, go, what do you think about this? What do you want?
Yeah.
To you going, okay, I need somebody with logistics experience.
Yeah.
Where do I find them?
By the way, if they had an Instagram, I would do it on Instagram. They don't, so I do it on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah, but
you've done it successfully. What can people learn from that?
It's really, really hard, because the answer that I'm going to give is not the answer that is right for the everyday person.
Okay.
I've leveraged the fact that I grew a large following and am verified to the point that people trust me.
Yeah.
Whether or not the verification,
it matters.
It does. It
does.
really, really does.
Yeah.
And in your example of not wanting to go up to somebody in real life and introduce yourself, it's almost like somebody pre-introduced you to that person, told them that you're legit, and they should give you the time of day.
Yep.
It makes it significantly easier when I can go to somebody
true.
and tell them what I've built versus give me a shot, right? So Instagram verification, LinkedIn, being able to lean on my social and my influence on LinkedIn has made recruiting and getting people to listen to me far easier.
You know, it's funny. And again, sorry, this doesn't apply probably to most people too, but for me, getting verified on Twitter was huge, because now I could cut through all the other interview requests and be like, oh, this guy seems like he's legit.
Exactly.
He's got a blue check.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, let's give him a shot. Where before, I didn't get a reply to DMs.
Yeah.
And it's so hard, but even without that check, I was still DMing like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a numbers game too.
For sure.
You know, it's like dating. Sometimes you have to, you know, go on 10 bad dates to find that one person who's kind of worth going on a second and third date with.
Sure.
And it sucks getting kind of ignored and stuff, but
it's part of the game.
it is part of the game. It's part of sales.
By the way, it doesn't suck to be ignored. Like, it's,
No, I don't think so.
I read something. It's like every no you're a step closer to your yes.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're going to get a yes.
Yeah.
But it's just, when is it going to come?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in everything. You're just pounding the pavement and trying to build your own following and what you're doing.
So kind of to wrap up, really, it sounds like, I mean, the takeaway for me with this is, I'm not launching a product, right? But if I was, it seems like there's two things to do.
Yeah.
Have a good product.
Yep.
That's number one.
Yep.
Probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
But also building a community around that product. And actually, if you could do the reverse and build a community first, you're probably going to be in a lot better shape.
Yeah. And the third thing is know what you don't know and hire people that know it. Like, there's no reason to have an ego here. Like, I publicly state every day, I have no beverage alcohol experience. I'm learning it every day because I think I'm a fast learner. But ultimately, if I didn't hire people that knew what the f- they were doing, this business would have failed 2 years ago. Like, you need to surround yourself with a great team, community, product. Those are the three things to me.
Any final tips for the young entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur?
Just do it. Just actually do it, though. Like, again, I had 9,000 ideas and I never gave them a chance. There were ideas that maybe made it into like a lame business presentation, but that's not a thing. Like, it's ultimately, when you're trying to raise money, of course, you have to put together a deck and need to accurately tell your story, but just do it. Like, get up and do it. It seems so easy, but people don't do it. People love being idea guys. Oh, this is a great idea. And they never do it. They don't make the product. They don't taste, like, there's nothing there. Literally, the first step is make your product. If it's CPG, make your product. It doesn't cost you that much money to make your product once.
Yeah.
Make it. Introduce it to your friends. See if they like it. If they like it, somebody probably knows somebody who invests in products. Get them excited about it, but really just start, and people are going to tell you not to, because everybody, unfortunately, in this world is miserable and they hate seeing others win.
Of course.
So just know that you actually can win. Like, the same way that we were talking about Screwdriver Guy, the fact that he exists means that he didn't listen to anyone. if I came to you and said, I want to become a screwdriver influencer, you would laugh, right? And maybe that guy's making a ton of money and crushing it.
It probably is.
Because there is a niche.
Yep.
So start it, do it, listen to yourself, trust yourself. That would be my advice.
Great. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a great place to end.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Just do it. Just do it and try. Do it and try.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, new interviews every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Interviews with really entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Today, we talked about the beverage industry. Next week, I've got Rich the Kid, the rapper, to talk about crypto and NFTs. You never know what you're gonna get, but you're always gonna get tips to grow or start your own business. So thank you so much for watching, guys.